Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Dive. Welcome me to another Degrassism. This kind of could qualify as a Cutter Degrassi, of their opinion. But since I've done 200 of them, and I did a list of the top 80 that you should really pay attention to because some of them were rehashes from previous ones or it just didn't make sense and all that, and it didn't age well. But anyway, a while back, 2 weeks ago, and I'm taping this on August 3rd, 2024 for context, I wrote something called, do you agree that guilt played a factor in Toby and Emma's aftermath from the JT stabbing? Not saying it was the main factor for their non-characteristic ways in the 2 episodes after JT's death, but it didn't pass the sniff test, or the character test, as I put it. I said, Toby, for some strange reason, gravitated towards Liberty, despite not really having feelings about her before this tragedy happened. It could be deconstructed as a way to handle his guilt over finding out how JT died and realizing that he told JT to find Liberty, which led to his death. Obviously, Toby had no foreshadowing of what was to come, but you knew that he was feeling bad about himself about the events that happened and wondered if he should have kept his mouth shut. I can understand that he wanted to keep Liberty from finding out some strange stuff, but it didn't help his character, especially with JT's death. Toby was back to being on the sidelines. And Emma and her actions in If You Leave was unfortunately a nod to her early character before Rick got to her and made her, for a time, zombie Emma, and then a clingy girlfriend. And I feel it was all her finally getting back her self-worth after Rick's actions made her into a zombie, and she struggled to be the old Emma. But then, of course, realizing that no one liked the old Emma anymore, she decided to do a facade of keeping friends and relationships to keep herself, quote-unquote, normal. But more than that, in my opinion, was that she had a twinge of guilt in her actions to do with trying to keep Manny living with her, not approving of Manny being with Damien, and, of course, the cheer competition. Like, JT's death was at her house at a party that should never been there in the first place, and someone died. How else was Emma supposed to feel? The good thing from this was that Emma did not internalize things like she did with the Rick situation, and it seemed that she was trying to confess her role in inadvertently getting JT killed. But luckily for her, everything worked out somewhat. So anyway, so here's the context. So it's episode 12. I can't remember what the episode is off the top of my head without looking it up. But I know that Rock This Town was the episode in which Manny had troubles after losing Craig, and then she ends up, wanting to throw a party at Emma's house to get over the loss. Manny was still living with Emma because of Manny not going back home because of her tyrannical father and submissive mother, if you will. But, I mean, to be fair to Mr. Santos, he's an immigrant parent, and immigrant parents push their kids to do well within their, Canadian stuff and all that. Like, I can understand Mr. Santos. And he does relent a little bit in season 7, saying that Manny could be an actress, but for her to take maybe a science course as a minor, just in case acting doesn't work out. And it makes sense what he's trying to do. But, yeah, Mr. Santos was a nut. But the fact of the matter is that, they were still living together, and they remembered it was Liberty's birthday, so they decided to throw a birthday party. Unfortunately, word of mouth hits Lakehurst, and they decide to try to crash the party. Fortunately, Spitter and Jimmy are there to take Lakehurst out and basically shoo them away, which was a good move. Emma was going to have sex with Sean, but she ended up getting drunk and missing the events. Of course, JT confides to Toby he's a little awkward and he doesn't know whether to be with a meatball sub, that's Mia, or a bowl of oatmeal, Liberty. Like, dude, those are pathetic observations. So Toby tells him that, he should be with Liberty and all that. What's the worst that can happen? And JT says, you're right, Tobes. What's the worst that can happen? And then he goes find Liberty, who left the party. But then JT bumps into Drake Lampley and Johnny DeMarco, who pee on his car. JT makes some kind of comment, and then Drake Lampley comes from behind and stabs JT in the aorta, and basically Johnny's shocked by it. And, Liberty screams for help, and JT unfortunately bleeds out and dies. Of course, we know that it was supposed to be because supposedly because Ryan Cooley wanted to leave the show with a bang before he went to university. But no, rumors were circulating that Ryan Cooley was basically let go. That's what he said. But anyway, in the next episode, Toby and Liberty are trying to grieve over this whole situation, and they both find each other. And, Toby has an attraction to Liberty for some odd reason. I mean, okay, you give Toby storyline because, Toby has been shot on by the writers a lot. But the fact of the matter is that it just didn't make sense. And then you got yourself that relationship and Toby, going closer to Liberty. But then he knows about what happened and he knows that JT went for Liberty and not Mia. What Liberty thinks happened. So Toby decides to tell on himself and practically ruin a relationship with Liberty by basically saying that JT wanted to be with Liberty more than Mia. And of course, Mia was understandably pissed that, calling Liberty a robot. But Liberty finally cries over her emotions and all that. And Mia finally lets JT go. I mean, a lot of people are like, why would Mia care so much? She only knew JT for a small bit. And it was only because of her daughter that JT grew closer to Mia. Close to Mia, which actually started the whole Degrassi Lakehurst feud and saw Drake Lampley stab JT in the aorta. And then, of course, you got Emma and her diatribe in the episode If You Leave. That's the 13th episode in season 6. I just watched Unusually Eric's takes on it, and he made some good points. He wasn't hating on Emma as much as he usually does, but yeah. But the fact of the matter is that Emma is shocked to find out that Manny is going home because her mother said that, you can't be around Emma's house because of the tragedy and all of that. And Emma's upset that Manny is not willing to be with her and wanting to be with Damien. But Manny basically says, we're going to have a girls' night. We'll go on the couch and all that stuff. And, dump Damien off. Unfortunately, Manny blows Emma off, which Emma's understandably pissed off and all that. Add to the fact that Lakehurst is coming to Degrassi for a cheerleading competition, and Emma says we should cancel it because Lakehurst is coming in and it's going to remind us of what happened. And Snake says practically that this event has been scheduled for a while and we can't do this. And of course, there's other schools involved too in this cheer competition. Like, I think in normal circumstances, you probably could cancel it, and I think they should have or postponed it. But, the whole logistics thing was going to blow up in their faces. And then, Emma is upset over everything. Upset that Manny is dumping Degrassi off, saying you're turning your back on your friends by being with Damien. Of course, that's compounded by the fact that Damien knows Drake Lampley and his family and all that. Just because Damien knows Drake's family doesn't mean that he's connected with Drake in any shape or form. Manny goes bananas over that with Emma, and Emma doesn't bat an eye. And then practically what you got is that Emma just is upset and then does the go home Lakehurst chants and all that. Starts a fight between Lakehurst and Degrassi and gets in trouble. She tries to explain things to Snake, saying everyone's trying to gloss over JT's stuff and I'm just pissed. And then Snake says, I understand that, but you're blaming Manny for this. You're making Manny the bad guy. And all that. She didn't do anything with the whole JT stabbing. And she's your best friend. You got to realize that. And then Emma decides to apologize and try to make things right with the world, with Manny. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Fortunately, Emma and Manny are close friends. And I practically think that was the last time Emma screwed over Manny. Maybe like getting Kelly from under Manny's nose. But, Emma doesn't try anything to destroy the friendship ever again. So it's like you think guilt played a part in Toby and Emma's uncharacteristic behaviors. Guilt can really hurt you and all that. I think Emma felt more guilt about things that were building up more so than Toby. Yeah, sure, Toby had some guilt over JT's death and all that. But compared to Emma, he had nothing to worry about. Because Emma had massive guilt. And when I did the unpopular opinion a while ago about internalizing things, and that's the biggest thing about Emma is her internalizing things. Then, well, that was the big part of it, like her guilt and all that. When when Liberty was supposedly being targeted by Armstrong, she felt guilt because she was trying to help out Liberty. And remember, Emma got catfished in the first episode of Degrassi Next Gen. But of course, it was taken incorrectly. And after all, Emma did try to confide to Manny and doesn't know what to do. Manny tells her to leave it alone, but the school gossips make Emma the bad guy. Emma may have had guilt over Manny being sexualized and then being impregnated by Craig. I don't know. And the massive build of guilt is season 4 with the whole Rick situation because it took her a couple of months to finally snap out of her zombie Emma phase. In Secret, well, the episode Secret, we find out how Emma has been not herself and everyone expects her to bounce back, but she can't. I mean, she couldn't. She tried. But then, of course, it doesn't work out that way. And then, stuff like that. And Emma had guilt. I mean, it was at a party that she should never have thrown. And, someone died, steps from her house. How else is she going to feel? She's going to feel guilty all the time. It's just like, yeah, she was worried about things and all that. I think she was worried about the police investigating what led to this, and Emma might get in trouble and all that. Part of me says that Emma was upset that Manny was trying to leave home and probably ducking consequences to do with the whole situation. But I doubt that highly. But yeah, I think guilt had something to do with it, especially with Emma, because, it's at a party that should not have been thrown and someone died. I'd be thinking to myself, well, Emma didn't care about JT. That's true because Emma and JT didn't really have too many meetings or scenes together. So practically, so she didn't do it for JT. She did it for herself, trying to get back to being normal. So someone actually left a comment in my Reddit thread called Entertainer C5502, who says this. Emma always was my girl, so I'll defend her forever. I definitely think guilt would have played into it, but I also think she never healed from Rick. She was still vulnerable by season 6 after only recently recovered from her eating disorder. A lot of Emma's issues stem from her needing control because of the out of control situations, which literally began back in season 1. That happened to her, so I think JT dying did affect her. She lost JT, so Manny moving on, and then Sean going to the army probably would have felt like big losses at the time to her in the grieving state. Well, Sean going to the army was the end of season 6, so anyway. Blaming Lakehurst was probably in her mind, her way in mind for redirecting self-guilt for the party being at her house and her being drunk at the time. She didn't dislike Manny or the cheerleading competition, but rather she wanted to control a threat of Lakehurst. What I feel like always goes unnoticed in the JT death episode is her getting plastered before she goes to be with Sean. That's right. She was obviously anxious about it and drank to calm her nerves. It never gets addressed and is overshadowed by JT dying. I never properly thought about Toby feeling guilty, but of course he was the last person who properly spoke to JT at the party and was the reason he wanted to leave. I feel Toby hating Lakehurst came from the same place as Emma. If you could blame something else, then it doesn't seem like your fault. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I really don't know much about the situation. But the fact of the matter is that, well, Yeah, raises a good point about Emma and the guilt and all that. But yeah, I still say guilt played a big part of Emma's thing. It was perceived as something else, but the guilt just overcame Emma and all that. And she was trying to fix her own problems, but it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. So that's all I've got for this Degrassism. I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.